What up, YouTube Alayaks? Come back at you with another custom StarCraft cast. Today, we have another game featuring the Cosmonarchy mod, and today we have a special guest. We have the developer of this mod, Pronogo. Pronogo, how's it going?
It's going pretty well, Alex, I gotta say. I mean, obviously your first video did numbers, so the people demand more. And what better way to get more than to talk to the guy who made it, I guess. So that's where we are. That's where we're here.
Absolutely. I'm stoked that I have you on this cast, and we can go ahead and introduce the players, and then we can talk a bit more about this mod. So, I'll have you introduce them because you know how to get the color scheme going. I still don't know how to do that. Apparently, there's 100 different colors or something in this mod.
Oh, yeah. There's a crazy number of colors. So we're going to start in the bottom left. I normally start in the top, but I like to start in the bottom because I actually know this color for sure. I don't have to do any guessing. This is Top Ramen, who apparently doesn't like the top moniker. Maybe he's not brand loyal anymore. I don't know. But Ramen in the bottom left, he is our Terran player, and his color is going to be jet black. Oh, no, I was wrong. It's regular black. And if you mouse over, if you select the Mason and you hold shift and mouse over the armor tooltip, it will actually show you the color there. And harassing his Mason is, of course, Neblime in the top left. I guess he's the maroon Protoss. Oh, but it was blood. Slightly off.
Ooh.
Slightly off. So I was pretty close, but 0% color guessing accuracy in this cast. Sorry, guys. I let you guys down.
I can't believe it, Pronogo. I can't believe it, but we'll make it through. We'll make it through. Looks like there's already a bit of a skirmish between two workers.
That's right. Yeah. Getting that action. You know, the epic battle of Ultimate Destiny. Ramen's Vulture going to go ahead and fly on past. Actually, I do like... Neblime is really good. He's our second placer from our most recent tournament, and he did play as Protoss in that tournament. He's played all the races. A nice... you could say ambassador for the game. And it looks like he's going to be doing a bit of a cheeky one-gate Nexus expand. He's also really, really good at keeping his worker scouts alive for way longer than other players. So it does end up getting caught by that second Vulture from Ramen, but you got to say hats off to him for dodging the first shot there from that Vulture.
Absolutely, and also getting some good scouting information. Seeing that there's two vultures, there's going to be some, apparently a lobotomy mine, which I didn't know. The spider mine's called a lobotomy mine. That's hilarious. But
That's
getting
right.
some scouting information, seeing that there are vultures on the field, but didn't see that there's an expansion. In fact, there's no expansion coming down for our Terran player just yet. Looks like a double Terran factory play coming out from our Top Ramen player. Is this going to be a one base all in, do you think? Or do you think Top Ramen is going to be expanding?
So here's the thing. Goliaths in Cosmonarchy are absolutely OP right now. And I say that as the developer, so you know it must be true. But a lot of people disagree with me. They don't think Goliaths are that OP. Two of them just finished up, got that new sprite, and courtesy of actually Solstice, who shout out to him on one time, because obviously he's responsible for the Scion Races mod in some ways. So I know you're familiar with his work. He did the Goliath remodel and a couple of other ones for Cosmonarchy. That guy's everywhere, I tell you. He does so much work.
Oh, that's
but
so cool.
He's definitely here. Yeah, he's been rocking out. And the Goliaths coming out here, I think I've heard tales of this. The Goliath push that tries to kill Protoss players before they are ready. And Neblime's already kind of preempting it. He's made 4 static defense structures in his natural. So Ramen won't go for a one base all in, but his expansion is going to be super late because he thinks he has play with this attack. He's going to get across the map, realize there's 4 static defense structures, and say, I better expand.
Wow. Oh, that's a good point. The game sense for Neblime is crazy. So he saw those vultures. He's like, okay, there's probably a couple factories at least on the field.
Yep.
Maybe I'm going to get some static defense. Also, I was going to ask, the Protoss Matrix, there was also another, I think it was the Protoss Engram. We have 2 different
That's right.
static defense structures. I guess 3, technically. Or is it even more for the Protoss?
No, they're limited to 3 right now.
Okay.
So the differences are that the Warden is pretty much the photon cannon that everybody knows and loves, with the added benefit that it shoots like a laser burst instead of a projectile, so it hits a lot faster. We're going to see it in action here in a moment, as it does look like Ramen is going to get close enough. But you saw that the Matrix shoots faster. It also restores shields around its target and itself. So it's a very, very good structure at holding on and defending. But the attack is coming in.
Oh, wow. And here we go. The Matrix going down. The Protoss Warden's doing a lot of defense, though, also with the Dracodins, or Dracodins. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that. The Goliath, though, breaking through, and this is looking a little bit rough for Neblime. I wonder...
That's right. Yeah, has he done enough? Has he held enough, right? Because the Wardens, they are warping back in, and the Scribes have been pulled for battle. That is a Neblime, just a common tactic he does, is he pulls the workers at the last possible second. He will end up holding. And also note, that was really, really close, despite the fact that it didn't look like Ramen was going to be able to break through at all. That's how powerful Goliaths are on the ground. But Ramen is going up against a very greedy Protoss, LEX. This is 3 Embassy, and Embassy are like a utilitarian structure, makes advanced workers, gives you transport, detection, that kind of thing. It's not a combat thing. That I know they look like forges. That is not upgrades. We don't have those kinds of upgrades in Cosmonarchy. So what we're about to see right now is Neblime powering up on a 2-base eco, using the advanced workers to get a lot of extra money.
That's awesome. That's so cool to see. And it also looks like there's a unit that I just witnessed. Here we go, the Protoss Artisan. What is this thing? Is this a scout? No, it does damage as well. It looks like it does ground and air damage, but they're hanging out in the top middle side of the map.
As soon as Neblime remembers those, he'll show you exactly what they are. His witness is the renamed Observer. It's been scouting the ministry that has been put down for Ramen, so there is an expansion up there for our Terran player, but a little bit slow to rise. I mean, you can see the worker count is super massively in Neblime's favor, 44 workers to 32, and now he's going to go ahead and saturate those minerals. The Artisan returns resources without needing to move. It just teleports them in to the coffers, and it is the only unit in the game that does that. So that is the advanced worker for the Protoss. He is now basically on a 2.5 base economy with this play.
That is so sick. And, you know, I'm sure the commenters will have something to say about the balance here, but that is super, super cool. I love the animation on that. Where's the sprite from? Is this also from, I think it was Nation 5? Was that the game that people were talking about?
5 Nations.
5 Nations.
Shout out to them. Yeah, they provided us with a lot of graphics that we could use. They basically gave us carte blanche to do as we please with their graphics, and we're slowly replacing them, but even the ones we replace, we kind of leave them in like some vestigial designs as like an homage to how they offered us there. So big shout out to them as another push is coming in. We'll see if Neblime can hold.
Yeah, so these Protoss, are they pronounced Drakidins or Drakidins?
That's
Somebody
right.
Correct.
Drakidin, yeah.
Drakidin. Okay, so we have the Drakidins here. It appears that they are the Dragoon equivalent for this version of the Protoss, but the Scribe pull trying to help defend and tank some of this damage from these Terran Goliaths. And this is this is virtually a full worker pull from the natural base location, and it looks like Ramen isn't leaving anytime soon. We have the Terran Cleric as well. Does this Cleric heal? It looks like it's healing the Goliaths.
That's right. So the Cleric, unlike the Medic from StarCraft 1 base, gives you healing for both mech and biological units. We don't make a distinction here. You can also use your Mason, your Repairmen, to repair those the biological units as well as the mechanical units. The same principle applies. But when the Cleric heals something, it boosts its armor by 1. So that's going to make it even more powerful in this context.
Oh,
they're
no
charging
kidding.
in.
Here we go. These Protoss Wardens doing a lot of work. The Scribes trying to decide if they're actually going to help defend or not. But it looks like Neblime is feeling pretty comfortable for now, putting the workers back to work. These Drakidins also doing a lot of work. How is the Drakidin compared to the Goliath? Does it defend pretty well? It looks like the Goliaths are not afraid of the Drakidins at all.
Yeah, the advantage is the range. Drakidins have +1 range, and Goliaths need to kind of stick to a target. You may have heard that little targeting servo sound, the wind up before the Goliath hits something. That happens every time they change a target, but doesn't happen if they keep focused on one target for a long time. So it's actually ideal to use Goliaths versus Protoss in that way, because their units take a more beating, but they have less of them, so there's less target switching. But now we've got an Acantor, the Reaver equivalent in Cosmonarchy. This might help to change the fate of Neblime's army. But remember, he still has a huge economy behind this with all those artisans.
Right, yeah, and it looks like they're kind of expanding across the entire top side of the map. These artisans are doing a lot of work.
Yes.
And I guess that makes scouting really important against Protoss as well, because, yeah, maybe there's not a base, but you might have these minerals being occupied by the Protoss anyway, which is interesting to see.
Yeah, I think 2 Goliaths would be all he needs to wipe that whole mineral line. Despite the weapon that the Artisan has, Goliath anti-air is even better in some ways than their anti-ground. So you can use those powerhouse units to clear this. This is kind of one of those situations where, because Ramen doesn't scout, it's sort of like taking a hidden base. Very vulnerable, especially versus what Ramen has. But if Ramen doesn't ever scout it, then it's not a problem. Now this Acantor has been drawn in. I think it's going to get sniped. That is a critical whiff there from Neblime. He just had his envoys out too. He's only got 1 he can scoop up now.
Wow, that was a great pickup by Ramen. And looking at what the Protoss has, we also have a Protoss that looks like an Atreus. Is this like an Immortal equivalent? That's just a guess. Or what is this unit?
Yeah, kind of similar. It's like a souped-up Draken, and it deals much more frontal damage. The Acantors, though, they are softening up the Goliaths, and it might allow the Atreus's to get a little bit more value. But unfortunately for Neblime, those anti-air missiles are just absolutely shellacking the transports.
Yeah, it really prevents the Cantor from moving around like you would see in vanilla StarCraft.
That's right.
And this is looking like a really scary army for our Terran player. Protoss is kind of trapped in his natural base location, but luckily with these Protoss artisans, still able to get a decent economy nonetheless, which is a really cool concept. Now, what tier are we in this game right now? Are we still in a tier 1 kind of phase, or is this tier 2 at this point?
It's kind of interesting because Ramen has a dedicated, you can kind of think of it as an age-up mechanic where he has a specific structure he needs to build to unlock Tier 2. But Neblime's already at Tier 2 because he doesn't need that. Protoss are much more advanced than their measly Terran counterparts. He's got a Cantors in the natural of Ramen, but as he pushes out, he almost forgets to unload them.
Oh, yeah, I just noticed it as well, and we have them landing in the main base for Ramen. Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
None of the workers moving. Now we have some movement, but that was so many SCVs that went down, or what are they called in this version, actually? The Terran Masons.
Mason, yeah. You could call them by their old names. It's all the same, really. But yeah, these Acantors are going to get cleaned up by the reinforcements. We're also seeing what you'd never see in TVP normally is the Eidolon, the Ghost, has made it to the field. We'll see if it can reinforce, because right now the Acantors and Atreus's are trying to break through.
Yeah, and still just nonstop action. I mean, we're at 11 minutes into the game, and there's been a skirmish on the top left-hand side of the map basically the entire time. I see another unit here, the Cyclops, and what do we have? We have a Terran Shaman. This is an interesting-looking unit, but it appears that Neblime may be finally pushing the Terran off of his side of the map.
Finally broken through. The Goliath contained. The Shamans were a good idea to reinforce. They heal every unit in a radius around them, and they deploy to increase the size of that radius. So you can kind of think of them as a healing tank instead of a siege tank. It's kind of similar in that way where they have to deploy, losing their mobility. But Neblime's going to clean house, and it's a lot due to the fact that he has spammed Acantors. He has made more Acantors than really most Protoss players typically end up doing. And it's going to be a flashback for Ramen. Neblime defeated Ramen, not on this map, but on a similar-looking map with this kind of strategy, just nonstop bombing him with Acantors in a tournament recently. So Ramen doesn't want to go down the same way, and he's going to try to fight up the ramp. That's not necessarily advisable, LAX.
Oh, no. And now a lot of these Acantors going down, and the Goliath's pushing through. It looks like Neblime may have overextended just a little bit. We do have 3 more Acantors on the back of this engagement, though, which might turn the tide. One of them going down to our left. Now only one left. We have a Protoss.
He's got a dodgeball. Ooh, that was pretty quick. And look at that. There's a drop in the third for Ramen as well. So he's going to have to deal with that. And that means he's not going to be able to reinforce and continue this push. Otherwise, he's going to lose his whole economy. He kind of already has at that base.
Yeah, that harassment is a huge pickup for Neblime. Will potentially get some breathing room after this. These Goliaths will be going down, and these Acantors now in base number 3. Oh, wow.
They are wreaking havoc. Neblime is very, very nifty with the Acantor. His own third base is going to get canceled, and I still don't think Ramen is any the wiser. He might still feel like his opponent is on 2 bases, but at this point, he's practically on 4. Look at all the artisans in the top strip of the map. He's even got some in the bottom right, LAX.
That is hilarious. Man, these artisans are really going to be changing up, I feel like, the meta that I'm used to seeing. I've never seen a base mining without a main mining structure. And flying workers to top it off is amazing.
And well, as we see, Ramen's frontal push is going to get dismantled here, I feel. There's more Eidolons coming in, but they are not going to be long for this world. They have proximity cloak, so you get close enough to them, they decloak, and they're very brittle. That being said, I think we've got a bigger problem, LAX, for our Terran lovers in the chat. It's a Solarian. Those are carriers coming out for Neblime because, of course, you 2-base, you build these flying workers, you mine with impunity, and then you go carrier. That's everybody's most hated Protoss strategy. Sky Toss coming at you.
And as a dirty Protoss player myself, it's my favorite strategy. So I'm excited to see it. So for the saturation with the artisans, is it a similar saturation requirement as a typical probe, or is the saturation different? Okay.
Oh, talk about dirty Protoss players. Neblime is getting vision with his advanced workers that he's using to mine Ramen's 5th base. and he's also using it to get vision to kill the anti-air defenses. Now, unlike in StarCraft 1, even your missile turrets, your watchdogs, can lift off. So Ramen was able to save them, and now he's going to redeploy them. Eventually, we'll remodel them to have landing pads and stuff. But that's going to shut down the couple token miners that are in that location.
That's so
Ramen only now getting his economy back. He's got 50 less workers than his opponent. I mean, this is an economic slaughter in favor of our Protoss for now. But let's see if he can, actually convince his opponent to GG out, because right now we got lots of Eidolons, lots of Goliaths. The anti-air power is pretty strong.
Yeah, especially, given the fact that we have that first Protoss Solarian out already. Yep. I'm really curious to see. Also, one thing I want to mention, I mean, maybe we'll do that after this engagement, because we have a lot of these Ghost equivalents, a big engagement in the middle of the map, but I don't know if this is enough for the Terran player to clean up this Protoss army, but at the very least, he does get some scouting information, kind of. I wouldn't say it's scouting information, more like I saw what happened and lost my whole army. But
yep. Pretty much, and the Cantor drop at the 4th base yet again. Ramen's going to have to play cleanup. Now, at least his Watchdogs snipe most of the envoys, so they can't come back in and scoop them up for victory. The reinforcements will clear that. Pairing the Cyclops off here to clear out one of those mining bases is really big for Ramen. If he's going to come back into this game, it's going to be because he shuts down the mining from the Artisans. And he's only done that in 1 base out of 4 so far, but 3 Eidolons going down to that one Akanto shot. That hurt my soul.
Oh, no. And, at the very least, Ramen knows now, maybe I should start scouting around, because I saw one sneaky base. It's almost guaranteed that they're going to be Artisans somewhere else on the map mining for this Protoss player. Now, one thing I saw that I wanted to mention was we have a Protoss, was like a Goliath or something like that, or it was like a giant zealot. Oh, here it is, the Golem, the Protoss Golem. Yep. Golem. So is this effectively just a giant zealot, or does it have any abilities that differentiate it?
Yeah, so every time the Golem takes shield damage, it leaks that energy out to restore shields of nearby allies. So you build it as an anti-crowd control measure, because if you splash 5 Golems, they're basically healing each other and any other units that got splashed along the way.
Oh,
so that's
cool.
Essentially that. Plus the fact that they don't do as much damage, but they take up a lot more damage than a zealot. So yeah, it beefs up your army from a durability standpoint. And it's less DPS, but it's definitely going to be pretty effective at restoring. For example, when there was a lot of Cyclops mixed in with the army, Cyclops do splash damage. So Golems are sometimes perceived as a way to reduce that power. Not completely eliminate it, but reduce it. Now, you asked me earlier about Tier 2. And Ramen is finally there. He's adding captaincies. He really likes the Striga, which is an infantry unit that basically lights people on fire with a sword. So that's pretty cool. And that's what we're going to end up seeing pretty soon. We're going to have to, that's at least my guess, because that's what he's building the tech requirements for with his captaincies deep in his main base. But we've got another sort of roving pack of Protoss units in the bottom. Right now, it seems like we finally reached a point where we can talk a little bit more about the tech. Our players are giving the casters a break for now.
Yeah, absolutely. We can talk a bit more about the tech. You also mentioned that lore is totally different in this Cosmonarchy mod as well. So I don't know if we'll have time to talk all about the lore, but for the Protoss and the Terran, what are some spark notes that we can get from you for the lore for these races?
Sure, yeah. So basically the main idea is that the original setting and all of the original happenings, they may have happened, they may not have happened. We maintain strategic ambiguity on that because we take place so far removed in distance and probably also time from the original games that it almost doesn't really matter. Like, these are completely different Terrans and Protoss and Zerg than what you're used to. And so you don't have any of the proper nouns, the characters and stuff from the old game. Some people really like those kinds of characters and lore, but we decided to go a completely different direction, you can think of it as. So basically, the best way to think about it is that everything you thought about when it comes to scale, turn it up a notch, right? You got way more Terrans and you got way more Protoss and you definitely got way more Zerg. You're talking like trillions and trillions of Zerg. We can't ever possibly tell you guys that show that kind of scale in game, but we dream about it. We dream about maybe like, Supreme Commander levels of scale or something one day that you can build up to. I don't want to cut our lore conversation short too quickly, but we do have a really sneaky move from Neblime. Look at the main base of Ramen. He's got 2 Didacts. The Arbiters cloak each other in Cosmonarchy, and only now that he's in the main base is there any static detection from that Atlas, because the Watchdogs, the missile turrets, don't do that. And he is going to go ahead and channel a recall. That is a persistent portal as long as the Didact stays alive and channeling. It will eventually be brought down, but he is opening the gates right now, and Neblime's forcing Ramen to come all the way back into his main base.
That's insane. The main base getting absolutely hammered by this Protoss player. The fact that these Didacts can cloak each other is insane. And this is going to also hurt the economy for the Terran player as well as the macro. I mean, we have the main mining structure on fire. One of these stockades also on fire. Now 3 of them on fire. And I'm looking at, what are these? Oh, not force fields. Never mind. I thought these were force fields, but for a second I was like, wait a minute, we're not watching StarCraft 2. We're watching Brood War.
Right. That's stasis, yep.
Stasis.
Freezing his units down. It only lasts 8 seconds instead of like 35 or whatever, but, you know, pretty significant nonetheless. And look at this. He's deleted the detection. He deleted the tier 2 tech structure that Ramen had. That's 600 of each resource, very expensive. And with no detection, he can't actually attack the Didax. Finally, he finds a way to deploy his Shaman for that detection. He will snipe them, but the main army of Neblime is moving across the map to contest another base.
And here we go. Base number 3, I believe, under fire from this Protoss player. So much sky toss right now. We have the Solarians, we have the Empyreans, as well as a Magister. This looks like, is this a flying unit? Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's right. Every time the Magister hits something, the victim will now be engaged upon from +2 weapon range. It's like a targeted buff that makes you able to fire on the unit from further away.
That's awesome. And we're also looking at an Opticon. This is a crazy cool looking unit. The range is also insane.
Oh, he's getting contained on, though. I think this might be a clothesline from Ramen. He's coming in from the south with a big force. So, you know, Neblime evacuates the most important units, the Sky Toss units, right? He doesn't actually lose a single Solarian. Unfortunately, he does lose his Optecton, but, you know, it's a pretty cool unit. It's pretty cool, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Ramen's clearing out that same base again from Artisans. So there's still some counterpunch happening. It's not over yet. I thought that was it for Ramen. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, same here. I was like, this is it. The GG is going to happen. But no, he cleaned up a lot of that Protoss army, and now he's moving out across the map to do some damage of his own. And looks like Neblime isn't really eager to engage with this army just yet. He's kind of holding still until I think the rest of his army catches up. These Zealots,
that's right. And his Skytoss army has to come back in, and he already lost a Solarian on the front line. So Ramen definitely, he's got a scary concentration of power. 32 Eidolons, and they don't deal concussive damage type. They don't deal reduced damage to armor or anything. They just straight up deal damage. They are very effective units in this.
Oh, wow. And then all these ghost equivalents, the Eidolons, looks like they're cloaked. Also doing a lot of damage to this Protoss player, but we have a big engagement on the bottom of the map as well at base number 2 at the natural base location. I'm trying to decide who's going to come out ahead.
It's tough, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, all of the Eidolons just got wiped by an Octecton and a Cantor combo, all that splash damage. That kind of cleans house for what Ramen had across the map. Maybe this is finally it for our Terran player. Has he done enough counter damage to delay?
Yeah, I thought we were about to witness a big twist is what I thought was going to happen, but no, it looks like, I think you're right. This may be it for our Terran player. We will see, though. No GG just yet. And we still have, you know, stubborn. Oh, no, all these SCVs or the Masons kind of getting caught in the crossfire. Oh, these Solarians.
Seraph as well, the Science Vessel equivalent, just went down to the Solarians. It can cast like a nifty Irradiate version, and it does end up being pretty effective, but unfortunately he missed the cast, and so he's not going to be able to stop the shield regen on those Protoss.
And here I see it, the Striga that you were talking about with the sword also going
that's
down.
Right.
And it looks like...
And that's it. That's a wrap, yeah. Ramen just didn't have enough to muster back. I really want to say MVP on those Artisans.
Yeah, those Artisans were super sick to witness. I didn't realize that was even a unit in this Cosmonarchy mod. Neblime winning this game. What a sick matchup indeed. And also, Pronogo has a YouTube channel of his own. I will link that in the description below. Pronogo, do you have any words to say goodbye?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, we saw a pretty cool back and forth match, unorthodox tactics. I've seen a lot of Neblime games. I didn't see him do triple embassy, like massive greed stuff. So definitely some cool games, some unique content that we're able to put up here. So thanks for having me on, LAX. I do appreciate it. And to all the wonderful people who are joining the Discord server that we've got and, you know, asking us, giving us feedback, talking to us about stuff, that's very much appreciated as well. So yeah, thanks again for having me on and featuring Cosmonarchy. Hope you're liking what you're seeing, because again, we still didn't see tier 3 Terran. There's still plenty more units to see, despite all of the ones that we saw just today.
Absolutely, and I really appreciate your knowledge for this cast. It really helped out a lot since this is my second time ever really looking at this mod, so I really appreciate you coming on. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed what you saw, please consider shooting me a like and subscribe. Join the Cosmonarchy Discord. They would love to have you. And if you want me to cast any of your own games, I will leave my email and Discord in the description below, and we'll see you guys on the next one.